This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception?
Let's go. What is up, Man Hour Nation? My bad, guys. I was on the old mute here on my little mixer. I like to jam out before the show, you know, and I was singing some Afro Man, and I didn't want to hear you. I didn't want you guys hearing it just in case I have to went play. So that's my bad. We should be unmuted now. You can hear me now, Jim. I know you can hear me now. I unmuted it. That's my bad. But guys, welcome to Man Hour NFL Talk, guys. Your go-to spot for live, raw, uncut NFL talk. So glad you're with us. That's guys today. Guys, before we jump into today's action, head over to manhourradio.com. That's where you find the merchandise page. That's where you find the blog page and everything happening with the Man Hour show. So you guys rocking the Man Hour, that is the spot to rep it. Guys, make sure you hit the like button, hit the share button, of course, subscribe to never miss a live after show. That is the easiest way to stay plugged into us. But if you want the full Man Hour experience, guys, we can make some pun it. That is our members-only community where you get free entry into the weekly NFL pickups, giveaways, exclusive merchandise, and a bonus live stream on the Big Sim Punters get. But if you want the next level access, guys, join the squad today. Now, remember, this is a live after show, so drop your thoughts, your opinions, and your hottest takes down below. James Frank says, let me clear my throat. Dun, 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 dun. Let me clear my throat. Who sings that? Is that Pity Pablo? Let me clear my throat. Dun, 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 dun. You guys know what I'm talking about. Oh, you old heads know what I'm talking about. What is up, James Frank? What is up? What is up? We got Jim Powell in chat.
Skin pun. Get you some.
Jim says, I can hear you now, brother. I know. I had it on mute. That's my bad. That's my bad, brothers. That's my bad. Average American Boy is back again. What is up? He says, what up? What's up, average American boy? Average American boy is an average NFL fan. He doesn't have any fandoms. He just likes the game of NFL, and that's why we like average American boy. But guys, we do got a great show for you lined up today. And James Frank says it was old dirty bastard said that. That's my bad. My bad here. I don't want to get shut down on Facebook or YouTube tonight by playing monetized music, but yeah. That was like the 80s, wasn't it, James? Let me clear my throat. Guys, it is what it is. But guys, you do got a great show for lineup today. I am enjoying the weather. Hopefully you're enjoying the weather as well, because it's all going to turn around in the next couple of days and be cold as nipples out there again. But guys, let's start here right at the top, and let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. That's right. Put some respect on the name. Super Bowl bound Dallas Cowboys in 2026, baby. But guys, the Dallas Cowboys are not letting George Pickens walk into free agency. That part is crystal clear. They have said it. They're going to franchise tag the man once the franchise tag season starts here in March. But here's the twist. Pickens staying in Dallas long term? That part is very much up in the air, because according to the NFL Network, a tag and trade scenario is absolutely on the table. Guys, let's start with the uncomfortable truth. The Dallas Cowboys are sitting at $29.2 million over the salary cap. That's not tight. That's suffocating. Tagging Pickens would be a temporary bandage, not a solution. The projected wide receiver tag is $28.8 million, the second most position in football. You can do it, but it squeezes everything else. And George Pickens, he's not looking for a one-year patch jobs. He's looking for those data bills. Yo! After the season he just had, he wants that long-term security. Let's not undersell what Pickens did in 2025. Guys, George Pickens had his first Pro Bowl selection. 93 catches, over 1,400 yards, and 9 tutties. And when CeeDee Lamb missed times, Pickens didn't just fill in, he took over. In several key averages, he actually outpaced CeeDee Lamb. More yards per catch, more yards per game, same usage, and a hell of a lot more explosiveness. That's wide receiver 1 production at the wide receiver number 2 spot. So when George Pickens says his price tag went up, he's not bluffing. The tape backs it up. And here's where things get fascinating. NFL Network's Ian Rappaport floated something that should make the Cowboys fans very, very uneasy. Dallas has already shown an unwillingness to trade star player for major draft capital. Just look at what the Micah Parsons deal was. And that's another layer. Same agent, Micah Parsons. That doesn't guarantee anything, but it makes the conversation very real behind the scenes. If Dallas can't reach a long-term deal by July 15th, the tag and trade option becomes more than just talk. Think about that, guys. Think about that. For the football standpoint, the Dallas Cowboys absolutely want George Pickens back. For years, the offense had a massive drop-off after CeeDee Lamb, and they finally had balance. They had a true 1-2 punch this season. The offense finished 7th in scoring and 2nd in total yards per game. Dak Prescott finally had answers instead of forcing throws, and Jerry Jones said it himself. He loved to keep George Pickens in Dallas for a long, long time. But wanting something and being able to afford it are two very, very different things. As my mama used to tell me back in the day, shit in one hand and one in the other hand and see what comes out first. But here's how this will play out. Dallas tags George Pickens between February 15th and March 3rd. That's step one. From there, both sides have until July 15th to agree on a long-term extension. If that deadline passes, Pickens plays on the tag, holds out, or becomes trade bait. And with the Dallas Cowboys cap situation, every one of those options is still on the table. Now let's look at the big picture, because this isn't about whether George Pickens is good enough, because he simply is. He proved it this season. This is about whether the Dallas Cowboys can thread the needle between cap reality, roster construction, and a receiver who knows exactly what he's worth. The franchise tag simply buys time, but it does not buy certainty. So, Man Hour Nation, let me ask you this. Should the Dallas Cowboys lock up George Pickens long-term, or is this tag and trade situation the smart move for the future? Guys, drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Subscribe, hit the like button. Remember, we are live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. East Coast time right here at youtube.com/Man Hour. Now, this is a live interactive show, guys, so get in the comments down below, and let's see what y'all are talking about right now. James Frank said, I had to look it up. We was both wrong. It was DJ Cool. Mr. One Hit Wonder, let me clear my throat. Great. Now the song will be stuck in my head. That's the only part of the song I know, just like Sweet Caroline. Bum, bum, bum. Does anybody know the words of Sweet Caroline? Because you are a liar if you say you do. You know 3 of the words. Sweet Caroline, bah. That's all you know. Come on. Jim Powell says, is this the year Dak goes to New Orleans? No. No. Because let's just be honest, Jim. If the Dallas Cowboys were going to trade Dak Prescott, it would have been last offseason. It would have been last offseason. They would have unloaded that contract to the Las Vegas Raiders like I thought they were going to. They would have got a couple draft picks in return. Maybe not 2 first rounds, but like a first-round pick and a second, but potentially a third-round draft pick. They would have got a plethora of picks for him. But I think now Dak Prescott has solidified him as not only a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, Dak Prescott's now a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. Look what he did last season. All you haters out there be like, oh, it's Dak sucks, Dak sucks. Look at the numbers. Watch him play the football game. Dak Prescott is the man, the myth, the legend. Now, he's not the best in the NFL right now. I think that title still goes to Josh Allen. And then Patrick Mahomes. And then not far behind Patrick Mahomes, my Patrick Mahomes, yes, I'm a Chiefs fan. Then you got Dak Prescott. So, guys, I do not think Dak Prescott is going to New Orleans, mainly because I think New Orleans found their quarterback in Tyler Stroud. I think late in the year, after they benched Spencer Rattler, Tyler Stroud finally got the keys to the kingdom, and he did not let the keys go. He put his little key, he put the key on his key ring, and he's got one of those old school key rings. You got to like pry it open and get it in there. That thing's not coming out very easy. I think Tyler Stroud's a long-term answer in New Orleans for many, many years to come. Maybe Pickens stays with a good quarterback. No. George Pickens stays with a great quarterback. And this is why I say this, Jim. Because during the Pro Bowl, it was asked by CeeDee Lamb, by Dak Prescott, would they want George Pickens back? And of course they said yes. They said absolutely, we want George Pickens back. As a matter of fact, CeeDee Lamb took it one step further and said, I would restructure my deal, take a pay cut to keep George Pickens on the Dallas Cowboys. That tells you everything. Because I think George Pickens is the best number 2 receiver in the entire NFL. Better than Jordan Addison, better than T. Higgins, better than who else is out there potentially like a number 2, right? He is the best number 2 receiver in the entire NFL game. Now, I don't think he's the top 10 number 1 receiver. Like, I don't think if you send him to Cleveland, is he going to be a top 10 receiver as the number 1 guy? Absolutely not. If you send him to, I don't know, who else is kind of lacking receivers? Send him to Houston, he's not going to be a number 1 guy. And I think Tank Dell would probably still be the number. Actually, he might fit pretty well in Houston. Let's go ahead and take that back. But I don't think he's a number 1 guy. I think he's a great number 2 receiver. He needs a Batman to his Robin. James Frank says Pickens and Lance together for a whole season would be insane. If Jerry don't pay him, I'll take him in Cleveland. And James Frank, why would I say? I mean, obviously he would be great in Cleveland for you, because Jerry Judy's trash. Njoku is out. He's like, peace out, Cleveland. Who else you guys got there? Absolutely nobody. Who's your quarterback? Mr. Rape Man. We're going to talk about Mr. Man right there in a second here. But you know what? If the Dallas Cowboys do not pay George Pickens, if they don't get 2 first-round draft picks for George Pickens, there is going to be hell in Dallas. People are going to legit riot in the streets. You think there's riots now with ICE in Minnesota and Kentucky and wherever else? No. If the Dallas Cowboys let George Pickens walk, I would not want to be in Arlington, Texas. I'm just saying, I would not want to be in Arlington, Texas. Just slow it down, baby. Jim says, I happen to know all the words. Jim says he knows all the words of Sweet Caroline. Jim, I want you to call me. Right now, I want you to call me. I got the Bluetooth set up to the mixer. We can hear you sing Sweet Caroline. I'm going to call you a liar, Jim. You don't know the words of Sweet Caroline. You know 3 of the words, Sweet, Caroline, and Buh. That's all you know. Get out of here. Electro Restorations in the chat today. He says, howdy, y'all. Sorry, I'm late. Better late than never, Electro Restorations. Better late than never. We only have a couple more weeks of the little man's basketball, so I think pretty much every day we're going to be here at 7, except for 1 day a week. I believe next week is Friday. We won't be here next Friday, but 7 p.m. East Coast time, moving forward until June. June is when we go back to the 9 o'clock time for the summer. Actually be about April when we go to summertime time. So just remember that. James Frank says, we have Holland Thananen Jr. That's it, though. I'll miss Chief Njoku. Listen, if you want to talk about Cleveland Browns, James, Thananen Jr., he is a dog. First of all, anybody that wears number 44, woo, baby. Give me some Dallas Clark vibes, right? Listen, I think Thananen Jr. will have a decent season this year. We'll see. Electro Restoration says, as a Cowboys fan, we should start a GoFundMe to keep Pickens in Dallas. There's no way we let him walk. We need this dude 100%. Electro Restorations, I kind of made this topic just for you. Now, I'm a passive Dallas Cowboys fan. I used to bleed blue back in the day because I wanted to be like my Uncle Marty. I was like, oh, that's like my uncle's cool. I want to be like him. He's a Cowboys fan. Let me root for the Cowboys, right? And then had the Chiefs the whole time team, but I digress. It's not the fact that Jerry Jones doesn't have the money. The Dallas Cowboys are worth billions upon billions of dollars. Matter of fact, 3 years ago, when we talked about this, they were the richest team by $1 billion in all professional sports. It was like $12 billion. That was back in like 2023, 2024. Now I'm sure it's $14, $15 billion. They have the money. It's the salary cap issues. They don't have a good GM. Let's just be honest. They do not have a good GM. They do not have a Brad Holmes. They do not have a what is the Eagles general manager's name? The three best general managers in all professional sports are with the Chiefs, the Eagles, and the Detroit Lions. For whatever reason, they can manipulate the salary cap to do whatever they want. A good general manager can make this money appear out of thin air. Be like the Kansas City Chiefs and give Patrick Mahomes that $500 million deal, but make it all backloaded. Keep kicking the can down the road. Pop, 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 pop. The Dallas Cowboys can certainly get George Pickens for a long-term deal. Make it backloaded. Make it all a signing bonus. Make it all performance-based. Do whatever you want. Make it happen. Restructure CeeDee Lamb. Restructure Dak Prescott. Do something. It has to happen. And if Jerry Jones or Stephen Jones cannot figure it out, hire a freaking general manager that can figure it out. Because how can the Eagles, the Lions, and the Chiefs consistently do it year after year after year? Matter of fact, what was it last season? Last June or July, the Kansas City Chiefs were like $37 million over the salary cap. And by the start of the year, they were $15 million under the salary cap. Like, what? How is that a $40 to $50 million flux? Because the general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs is one of the best in the game. Philadelphia was the exact same way. They were $5 to $10 million over the salary cap. By the start of the season, they were like $20 million under the salary cap. What? It's possible. You got to talk correctly. You got to figure out those numbers. You got to Breaking Bad him, man. You got to launder that money somehow, some way. Think about this in a presidential standpoint, right? Now, I don't want to go down this road, but this is the exact same thing. President Obama, very, very good with his words. Know how to speak, know how to articulate. He is saying the same exact thing that Donald Trump is saying. Literally the same exact same thing. The difference is Obama spoke with like Obama was just chill, calm. He's like, look, man, you're just a stupid piece of shit, and whatever, like it is what it is. But Trump's like, you're a stupid piece of shit, right? Same exact words, different tones, different structure. The Dallas Cowboys can figure it out if they can sweet talk CeeDee Lamb. If they can sweet talk Dak Prescott, if they can figure out how to kick the can down the road or make it a signing bonus or performance based, they can figure it out. Matter of fact, give CeeDee Lamb more money, but make it all performance based or signing or a signing bonus. Make it something happen. Jim says Penn State since day one, touching me, touching you, sweet Caroline. We're stupid. We all stupid. But listen. So Jim knows six words now. No, I guess 5. Sweet, Caroline, bum, touching me. Touching you. So 6 words. There you go. Jim knows 6 words. Electro Rush says, tell me any guy who would be a great receiver number 2 or 1 when needed. Who has balled out this season and had over 1,000 yards? The only person that I can think of is potentially a better number 2 receiver is potentially Jordan Addison. But Jordan Addison has so many off the field issues that we don't even know if he's going to be able to play football next season. The man falling asleep behind the wheel drunk in Las Vegas. He's beating up baby mamas. He's not showing up to court. Jordan Addison is a problem off the field. Has all the talent in the world on the field, could be the best number 2 receiver in the NFL, but the off-the-field issues overshadow his on-the-field production. A potentially better number 2 receiver than George Pickens. I'm thinking Jalen Waddle, Mr. Waddle man himself. He gets overshadowed a lot because, let's just be honest, Miami Dolphins do not get a lot of coverage. Tyreek Hill and the Tua saga is going on. The Mike McDaniel saga was going on, but Jalen Waddle quietly did his thing. When Tua went out, Waddle stepped up and was a great number 1 receiver for the Miami Dolphins. So I could see Jalen Waddle being a potentially better number 2 receiver than George Pickens. Then let's go over to Philly. Mr. Slim Reaper himself, Devontae Smith. Guys, do you ever watch Devontae Smith play? Like legit, just sit back and watch him play. Game after game, year after year, he just sits there quietly, does his thing. Now, I don't know if he broke 1,000 yards this season or not. I don't have the stats in front of me. This is all the top of my head. But he goes out there and he's a great compliment to A.J. Brown. And then, if you want to take it one step further, let's go to Washington. Oh crap! Why is his name slipping on my mind all of a sudden? The guy that traded from San Francisco to Washington. It's not Brandon Ayuk, is it? Oh man, what is his name? Help me out, guys. The number 2 receiver in Washington that was in San Francisco. Deebo Samuels. Thank you, Brain. Deebo Samuels. He was the number 2 receiver in Washington behind Scary Terry. Now, he was the number 1 receiver in San Francisco. Pretty much on any other team, he would be a number 1 receiver. But since he is in Washington, he's a number 2 receiver. So those are 5 potential receivers that could potentially be better than George Pickens. But honestly speaking, I would take George Pickens out of each and every one of the receivers. Over Devontae Smith, over Jalen Waddle, over Jordan Addison, over Deebo Samuel. Give me George Pickens. And James Frank says, what about T. Higgins from Cincinnati? I will give you T. Higgins, but I'm still not taking T. Higgins over George Pickens. Because think about it this. George Pickens in Cincinnati with Jamar Chase. George Pickens with Jordan Addison in Minnesota. George Pickens with A.J. Brown wherever he decides to go. Ooh, money in the bank, baby, right? Money in the bank. Electro says there's an uproar in the streets when Landry was dismissed. And if Pickens walks, there will be an uproar in the streets again. And Electro, I definitely agree with you. But to be fair, if you have not seen Letterkenny, I recommend that show 100%. I think it's on Hulu. Anyways, I digress. He's already been franchise tagged. So win, lose, or draw, we at least have, when I say we, the Dallas Cowboys, at least have George Pickens for another season. At least for one more season, you have George Pickens. Now, does he hold out? Franchise tag still rolls over till you play at least like 6 games, I think it is, or something crazy. Sign and trade. What's the value for that? Probably at least a first-round pick, if not 2 first-round picks, a first and a second, 2 first-round picks. I think that's the value for George Pickens. So there's not going to be a riot in the streets, but we'll see. So good. Oh man, guys, Jim is singing "Sweet Caroline." He's up to 8 words. He knows 8 words now. He knows "Sweet Caroline," "Ba," "Touching," "Me," "You," and "So" and "Good." 8 words, Jim. No, I'm just playing. Addison is better than George Pickens. Whoa, slow down, baby. James, I do agree with you. That talent strictly on the field, Jordan Addison is better than George Pickens. However, take the whole picture into play. Off the field issue with Jordan Addison overweighs a lot of his stuff on the field. He's been suspended for 3 or 4 games last season. He's probably going to get suspended for 3 or 4 games this coming NFL season. George Pickens might be a basket case of cancer or whatever, but he is pretty squeaky clean off the field, right? He's going to come up there and he's going to do his work. Now, he may not give you 100% effort all the time, but he is what it is. John Peoples, a pigskin pundit.
Pigskin pun. Get you some.
Guys, be like Jim and John and James and support the Man Hour brand. Guys, become a pigskin pundit. It is $4.99 a month here on YouTube. You get free entry to weekly NFL pick'ems, free merchandise, and it helps support the show to bring you the pregame show that's happening next season. So definitely, guys, become a pigskin pundit. And John says, just like in Pittsburgh, develops a cancer in the locker room. So the narrative, right, John, around George Pickens is that he was a cancer in the locker room in Pittsburgh. The narrative is that he did not give 100% effort on every other play or on every play, which was very evident on the Dallas Cowboys the last 3 or 4 games of the season when the Dallas Cowboys were out and George Pickens is just like, oh, shit, I'm getting the ball, right? So, to combat those issues, winning cures all, right? When you are a winning football team, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 games a season, like the Dallas Cowboys will be next season, all that is hush. Effort's there. The cancer rumors are adios amigos, right? I think if George Pickens is with Dak Prescott, Dak will hold him accountable. If he's with CeeDee Lamb all year long, CeeDee Lamb will hold him accountable, and George will hold CeeDee accountable. It is like me. Out of high school, I had a player. We were best friends since like 2nd grade. He was going to go to Emporia State, and I was going to go to a JUCO school, right? Together, we were unstoppable. We held each other accountable. We always lifted weights. We worked together. We hung out together. We partied together. We probably banged the same chick like 5 or 6 times, but we digressed from that. The minute we went our separate ways, we both kind of went, poof, right? But the minute we got back together, we were back up here. And I think CD and George will keep each other up here, if that makes sense. And James says, no, I said Addison is not better than George Pickens. That's my mistake. I misread that. And he followed up and says, Pittsburgh's locker room and organizational is not the Dallas Cowboys locker rooms. You could see it that he liked being in Dallas. CD and Pickens aren't just teammates, they are friends. Huge difference. I agree. You could see the peace and the aura change in George Pickens this season. Exactly what I just said. I agree with you 100%, James. I agree with you 100%. And John says, whoa, slow down, baby. Says, you are delusional. Dallas Cowboys are a 500 team. He says the Dallas Cowboys are a 500 team.
John Peoples, report to floor number 4, room 506. Your meds already, because you're crazy.
Come on, man. You damn well know that the Dallas Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl, baby. You damn well the Dallas Cowboys are going to win the NFC East next season. You know damn well the Dallas Cowboys are going to go 15-2 next year, and they're going to whoop that ass all year long. George Pickens is going to have a 1,200-yard season. CeeDee Lamb's going to have an 1,800-yard season. Dak Prescott's going to throw for 5,000 yards and 47 tutties. And the defense, oh, don't get me started with the defense, because that defense is going to make the Seahawks defense look like child's play. They're going to come out there. They're going to be the best defense in the NFL. They're going to be at the #1 point-scoring defense in the NFL. They're going to hold you to under 200 yards a game. They're going to put that belt to ass every single week, John. Come on, man. You know better than that. This is the off-season. The Dallas Cowboys are Super Bowl bound. The Dallas Cowboys going to the moon, baby. Welcome to Man Hour NFL Talk. Guys, and Jim says accountability is a lost art in the NFL. I think with the younger generation, yes. For your second, third year players, you are exactly correct. You want to know why? It's the freaking NIL. Me coaching high school football, I'm a defensive coordinator at the high school level. I feel like I have to walk on eggshells because kids can transfer at a drop of a hat and go make $1,000 at the high school across the street. So if the high school kids can't be held accountable, the college kids certainly aren't being held accountable. Who's that kid from Georgia that's like in his seventh college in 7 years? Like, what? I'm just saying, you are right. But, CeeDee Lamb is still there. Dak Prescott is still there. And Brian Schottenheimer's kind of a whole school coach. His daddy, Marty, made me a huge fan. I love me some Marty Schottenheimer. Oh, jacked up on Mountain Dew today. No, I'm drinking Mellow Yellow today. A little Mellow Yellow today. Keep the doctor away. Electoral says, when we fix that defense this year in the draft and our rookies develop, we're winning that thing. We already cracked the golden statues of the Eagles and the Chiefs last season. We're going to do it again, baby. And I agree. Ooh, I agree. The only thing the Dallas Cowboys got to worry about next season, the only thing they got to worry about next season from going to the Super Bowl is one thing only. That is the New York Football Giants. And I guess we can throw in two things. The Cleveland Browns. Because the Cleveland Browns got DeShaun Watson back, baby! Or do they? Guys, the final legal chapter in the Cleveland Browns saga involving DeShaun Watson just closed. According to court records, the last two remaining lawsuits tied to more than 24 sexual misconduct allegations against DeShaun Watson were dismissed on Friday. Both cases were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they cannot refile. Legally, this is the end of the road. But the conversation, that's a totally different story. We'll get into that to a different day. But let's just be precise here. One of these cases was scheduled to go to trial in February. The other one in late March. Instead, both were dismissed. At least one involved statement confirmed to attorney Tony Busby, who represented most of the plaintiffs over the last 4 years. He didn't offer details, just simply said this. We reached a settlement. That's all I can say. The second case, brought in by plaintiff, represented by a different attorney, was dismissed at the request of the plaintiff. That's it. From a civil standpoint, there are no remaining cases. This stems from 27 lawsuits filed back in March of 2021, accusing DeShaun Watson of sexual misconduct during a massage session when he played for the Houston Texans. 2 Texas grand juries declined to press criminal charges, but the NFL still stepped in. DeShaun Watson was served an 11-game extension back in 2022, paid $5 million fine, and required to undergo evaluation and treatment as a part of his reinstatement. That discipline came from a negotiated status settlement between the league and the players' union. So this isn't new ground. This is the final legal box being checked. But let's talk the football reality. Because DeShaun Watson, guys, is now 30 years old. He tore his Achilles back in October of 2024. He didn't play at all in 2025. According to ESPN reporting, the expectation is that he could return in 2026, depending on health and the organizational direction. But the Browns are no longer in an autopilot mode at quarterback. There's a new coaching staff coming in. The front office has already said the next head coaching will be voice of the 2026 quarterback decision. All that matters. From a legal standpoint, the Browns finally have clarity. No more pending trials, no more court dates, no more uncertainty hanging over the franchise's calendar. From a public perspective standpoint, that's more complicated. Dismissed with prejudice doesn't mean forgiven. It doesn't mean erased. It means closed in the eyes of the court. And Cleveland now has to decide how much of the future it still wants to be tied to Washington as a football player, a financial commitment, and the face of the franchise. As this is one of the moments where multiple truths exist at once. The legal process is finished. The discipline was served. The injuries are real, and the security isn't going anywhere. The Browns didn't just inherit a quarterback, they inherited a responsibility, and that responsibility doesn't end with the court filing. The story is no longer about lawsuits, it's about what comes next. Does Cleveland try to reset the clock with DeShaun Watson once he's healthy? Does the new coaching staff come in with a fresh start? Or does this franchise finally turn the page completely? Matter of fact, start a whole brand new book. Those answers won't come from a courtroom, they'll come from a football decisions. So, Man Hour Nation, let me ask you this question. With the legal cases now closed, should Cleveland still plan its future around DeShaun Watson, or is it time to move on to Shador Sanders? Guys, drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Subscribe, hit the like button. Remember, we are live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. East Coast time right here at youtube.com/Man Hour. This is a live interactive show, so comment down below and let's discuss your thoughts. Will the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns be DeShaun Watson in 2026? See what this says. John says, do you smell that? Do you smell what the Rock is cooking? No, I don't smell it. It's not no cerebral gas. And James Frank says, let me be clear about this, Buck. Let me get my megaphone out.
James Frank says Dallas Cowboys and the Cleveland Browns in the Super Bowl in 2027. Shador gets an MVP for a second year. Take that to the bank, Jack.
And James, wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? Arguably two of the most hated franchises in entire football. Dallas Cowboys, everybody hates them more than they love their teams. And the Cleveland Browns have been the butt of the jokes for 30, 40, 50, 60 years, right? Wouldn't that be something? And Jim says they got to worry about Fernando, baby, and $100 million to fix that offensive line. Raiders can spend $200 million on the offensive line. They can get Patrick Mahomes. They can get Aston Gentry at an MVP level. They can get Terrell Owens at his prime-time abilities, and they'll still be a 3-win team. I'm just kidding. James Frank says, go watch the Micah Parsons podcast with Myles Garrett. He leaked that Shador is going to be the starter with a short leash. I mean, is that really leaking information, to be honest? Is that really leaking anything? However, it's February. It's February 10th, 2026. We still have a draft to go through. We still have training camp to go through. We have some TikTok dances to go through. Shador Sanders might get injured doing a TikTok dance, right? We have March, April, May, June, July. We have 5 months before a starter will be named in Cleveland. Matter of fact, I'm going to take it one step further. We have 7 months before a starter will be named in Cleveland. So slow it down, baby. Electro Race says, so what I'm hearing is the Browns could pull off at 85 Bears and win one and done, but just don't have the chips in defense. Wouldn't that be something? What was it, the 2012 Baltimore Ravens when they didn't score an offensive touchdown for like 6 weeks, 7 weeks, whatever it was? What if the Cleveland Browns scored 0 touchdowns all season long? Offensive touchdowns. I know that's hard to fathom, but what if they scored 0 touchdowns all season long? But the defense pitched shutout after shutout after shutout, a couple pick sixes, a couple punt returns, bada bing, bada boom, and the Super Bowl. That would be crazy. James Frank says Todd Monken tried to get Shador to go to Georgia. Then he tried to draft him when he was with Baltimore. Todd Monken comes to Cleveland where Shador is on the squad. And you know what? James, I seen that interaction with Todd Monken and Shador. Oh, I tried to draft you in the fifth round or 4th round, whatever it was. Then why didn't you? Because let's just be honest, Todd Monken had a voice in the Baltimore Ravens upper management, right? Todd Monken's been there, done that. If you wanted him, why do we just hear about it now? Why wasn't that news 6 months ago? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And Jim says Jim Schwartz landing with Kubiak. I don't know. Jim Schwartz, Jim, is still under contract for the Cleveland Browns. So 3 things have to happen for Jim Schwartz to become a Las Vegas Raiders defensive of coordinator. 1, they have to make a trade. The Raiders and Browns have to come with some type of trade agreement, like 5th round draft pick, 6th round draft pick, whatever it was. Much like when the Broncos did with the Saints to bring in Sean Payton, right? Number 2, they can release him from his contract, fire him per se. That's not going to happen. Why? Because F you, Jim, right? I think that's what it comes down to. Or 3, Jim Schwartz goes back to Cleveland, just is a cancer in the locker room. F everybody, gets fired before the season starts, and then Clint Kubiak's like, hey, buddy, come on over. I don't think it's going to happen. John says, calling it now. Shedeur Sanders starts, and the Cleveland Browns go 9-8, baby. Damn. That would be tough. But I like it. I like it. James Frank says, I think so, but they want to get draft capital for him, so the Raiders should make him an assistant coach, I think. Jim Schwartz, yes. John People says, hoping Big Jim would give me more confidence in them. Than the Raiders? Come on, man. Come on. And James Frank says, because Shedeur Sanders didn't want to go to Baltimore and be Lamar's backup. Okay. The reason why Todd Monken did not, the reason why the Baltimore Ravens did not draft Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round, I believe it was, right? It's because Shedeur Sanders didn't want to go to Baltimore and be Lamar Jackson's backup. Pause. First things first, you're in the 5th round at this particular point. Do you really have a say of like, I don't want to go to Baltimore because I want to be a backup? You're going to be in the NFL. You're going to be making millions upon millions of dollars. And we all know Lamar Jackson, when times get hard, he gets hurt. Shedeur Sanders would have been playing most of the season. Snoop Huntley wouldn't be getting all that fame. It'd be Shedeur Sanders. I don't care if it was in the news or not. Was it local news? Because I didn't hear it. I mean, I guess I heard it now, but come on, man. See, this is the problem that I have with Shedeur Sanders. Now, I'm not against people having confidence in themselves. Because if you're confident in yourself, you're going to perform a little bit better. Let's just say what it is. But when you walk in the room and you control the room, you just feel better about yourself. You pump out your chest. Right? But at some point, you just got to suck up your pride and be like, damn, you know what? It is what it is. It's the fifth round. I want to be in the NFL. What if the Baltimore Ravens would have won the Super Bowl this season or gone to the Super Bowl? Do you think Shedeur Sanders would be like, oh, man, I really wish I had got drafted by the Ravens. I could have had a Super Bowl ring. Come on, man. Adam Schefter said it? I don't know. You tell me, James. Who said it? Put some name on it. But we do have some Lions size issue. For all you Detroit Lions fans out there, this one might be starting to be a little bit tough. Guys, the Detroit Lions might be starting at a tough, emotional football situation. Matter of fact, they're staring right down the barrel of an emotional football decision. After the season, general manager Brad Holmes said the team would have conversations about trading David Montgomery. Not because he can't play, not because he doesn't matter, because he deserves to be somewhere where his skill set can be fully unleashed. And when that quote hit, it landed heavy. Now, fast forward to the Pro Bowl games. And Jahmyr Gibbs spoke up. He didn't dodge it. He didn't sugarcoat it. Of course, he wants David Montgomery back. The whole team wants David Montgomery back. And Jahmyr Gibbs also made it clear he understands reality. Montgomery has a family, a career, and a future. Whatever decision is made, Jahmyr Gibbs said he supports him 100%. That is respect. That's brotherhood. Let's not forget what this duo has done. For 3 seasons, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery has been the NFL's most complementary backfield. Power, speed, punishment, explosive. The best 1-2 punch in the entire NFL. Over 6,000 yards rushing, more than 2,000 yards receiving, 82 total touchdowns. That is production. That is identity. That is Sonic and Knuckles. This wasn't just a timeshare. This was rhythm. David Montgomery softened the defense, and Jahmyr Gibbs finished him. Sonic and Knuckles wasn't just a nickname, it was a weekly problem for oppositions. And here's the hard part. Down the stretch in 2025, David Montgomery's role shrank significantly. Career lows in carries, career lows in rushing yards. For the first time in his career, fewer than 10 carries per game. And most of that drop came late in the season when Detroit needed offense immediately. And that offense increasingly ran through Jahmyr Gibbs. At just 24 years old next season, Jahmyr Gibbs proved that he can carry the load all by himself when needed. And that changes the entire conversation in Detroit. From a cat standpoint, this move is clean. A pre-June 1 trade creates savings. A post-June 1 trade creates even more. Either way, the financial hit is manageable. This isn't about a contract problem. It's about a usage problem. And those are the hardest ones because it's not about money. They're about roles. Add in the new offensive coordinator. Add in the new scheme. And things are going to get even more interesting. Drew Pressings came in with a system that's comfortable learning heavy on one back. He did it with James Conner. He's not married to rotation for rotation's sake. If Detroit believes Gibbs is ready to be the engine, the scheme supports it. But let's just be perfectly clear on this. Moving on from David Montgomery wouldn't just be a football decision. It would be an ending of something special. Chemistry like this isn't guaranteed. You just don't draft or trade your way into it. And yes, Sonic was always a star, but Knuckles made the game work. This is the crossroad Detroit is standing at. Run it back with the legendary duo and managing touches, or do they do right by a veteran back, lean fully into the rising star, and evolve the offense? Neither option is wrong, but one of them will end an era. So, Man Hour Nation, let me ask you this. Should Detroit Lions keep Sonic and Knuckles together, or is it time to let David Montgomery shine somewhere else? Guys, drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Subscribe, hit the like button. Remember, we are live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. East Coast time right here at youtube.com/man. Let's get into the comments. And John People said it would be the stupidest move in the entire NFL. This is the best 1-2 punch in the entire NFL. And I do not disagree, John. For the first time in a long time, John, I do not disagree with you. However, David Montgomery's touches were very, very down when the Detroit Lions needed him the most. Why? I don't know. Was it play calling? Was it injury? Was it internal fighting with Dan Campbell? Like, what was the reason why his touches went so down? That's the biggest question. That's the question that I'm asking. Because we've seen how great they can be. When both of them get about 12, 13, 14 touches in a game, it would be tough. And Electro says it would be worse than the Parsons trade. Now, pause on that. Electro says we don't know what the Dallas Cowboys are going to do with those 2 first-round draft picks. They could draft 2 future Hall of Famers. They could. So let's just hold that thought process for a couple years down the road. We'll see how this Parsons trade pans out. But on the surface, what would you get for David Montgomery? Like legit, like what could you get for David Montgomery? Because let's just be honest, he is a little long in the tooth. He's played for the Detroit Lions for 3 or 4 seasons. He played with the Chicago Bears for 3 or 4 seasons, right? He's a little bit over the edge or over the hill. So what would you get for him? 5th round pick, 4th round pick, maybe a player. I don't know. I personally would keep him because the value is not worth the trade. Jim says the best Lions have been maybe ever if you change the recipe now. I mean, the recipe was changed, Jim, when Ben Johnson went to Chicago. You can say what you want about the Dan Campbell system. You can say what you want about this, and this. But the truth of the matter is once Ben Johnson left, the Detroit Lions suffered. It is what it is. And clearly Dan Campbell calling the plays was not the answer, right? But in the end, we will see.